Hey everyone, Luke plays lead here. Before I get into this, I got a new microphone. There it is. So my audio should sound a little better than did last video. I watched the last video and I was like, man, I do not like my microphone quality. So I got a new mic. Might as well. It's a little better. But anyways, 2 talking videos in a row. My apologies for not uploading a playing video in a little bit. I'll get into why I haven't. In this video, this is why I'm making this video. But basically, I've been in a pretty big rut with my playing. I'm going through a pretty low point, a valley as you might call it, in my playing. Now everyone goes through peaks and valleys with whatever they're doing, whether it's trumpet, whether it's something else, whatever you're trying to get better at. Everyone goes through good points and bad points, and currently I'm in a pretty rough spot. I'm coming out of it a little bit. But basically with my playing about a week ago, I was just kind of like, everything feels really hard to play. Middle register, low register, high register, and anything above a double G was just non-existent. I couldn't even begin to play it. I couldn't even squeak it out. It was really weird because, you know, I've gone through spurts of having amazing triple register and decent triple register and then no triple register or whatever. But on top of that, my high register was hard to play, my middle register was pretty hard to play, and my low register was very inconsistent with double buzzes and stuff. And that's when I was like, something's not right. I'm doing something wrong. And me, when I go into a series of bad playing, when I'm not doing so well in my playing, I start to overanalyze everything I'm doing. Maybe I should put more upper lip and lower lip in the mouthpiece, or maybe I should move my mouthpiece left or right in my face, or maybe I should bring my jaw out or my jaw in, or maybe I should use a higher tongue or a lower tongue, or more air or less air. Maybe I should use more pressure. Maybe my pivot's wrong. Maybe I'm pivoting the wrong way. All this stuff, and I just I overanalyze everything, and I start changing everything, and I start tensing up, squeezing all my face muscles, try to get them in a different spot. I'm like, this is right where it's supposed to. I bring my upper lip down, put my lower lip up, and I curl it out, and I press, and then I just get into a really bad habit of overanalyzing everything I'm doing. And I recognize this because I've done it before. I was like, all right, I got to the point where I made a Word document. I was like, this is everything that I am not sure about, and then I made it, and I was like, this isn't right. I'm going back into my old ways that I've come out of before, where I'm like overanalyzing everything. So I texted Louis Dalto. If you don't know who he is, go check out his YouTube channel and everything he plays. It's fantastic and amazing. I texted him. I was like, hey, something's not right. Do you have any time soon? Blah, blah, blah. Everything feels difficult to play. Whatever. And he called me, and he basically told me, he's like, you know what? Don't play anything above a high C, or even a first ledger line A. Just don't play about it. Don't think about it. Play some basic things like Clark studies, the articulation studies in the Arbin was one he mentioned. Do some lyrical pieces, some duets with my wife who plays trumpet. Well, I pointed back. That's her desk. But don't think about anything when you play it. Just think about getting a good sound. Put the trumpet up to your face and play. Don't think about mouthpiece placement. Don't think about air. Don't think about your tongue. Don't think about how much lip's in the mouthpiece. Don't think about where your jaw is. Just put the mouthpiece up and play. I did this for 3 days. And I felt pretty good. It was coming back in my middle register. I was like, all right, I'm not inconsistent anymore. All this stuff's working. It's coming out. It sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll add a little more. So I added more. Some harder stuff. One I did was the Soli in Count Bubba, Gordon Goodwin's Count Bubba. I did the trumpet Soli in that, which doesn't go. I think goes up to a high C, and that wasn't too bad. It was pretty easy. I made it through. I didn't go to the double G at the end of it, just to the B flat. And I was like, okay. So the next day I started playing stuff above high C, up to about an F, double F, F sharp. And that was, I don't want to say it's easy, but it came out. It sounded pretty good. It wasn't super difficult. Still don't have any triple register, but Louis told me, he's like, that it's on a vacation right now. It's not gone. It's just on a vacation. It'll come back. It'll be all right. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Today, I just finished my practice session today, and it was the first time in about a week and a half or 2 weeks that I've been able to play in the triple register at all. But I'll get into that in a second. And it was going pretty well. And from there, I was able to tweak a little bit. Not a ton, but like take what was natural and comfortable, tweak it just a little bit to make it a little more efficient, and so that I could go from bottom to top pretty easily. Be able to play through things and have it go pretty well. And I think the takeaway that I got from it, and this is pretty much my takeaway, every time I get out of a rut, like a really, really bad spot, and the takeaway is just, whatever feels natural, it might not always be correct, but it's probably closer to the right way to play for you than it is if you're like over-analyzing every little thing and trying to move every different part of your face and think of everything at once. At least for me, I just tend to get over, I don't know the word. If I think of all those things, then I tend to not do anything. I just regress back. But anyways, so I got to a more natural way of playing, and even if my natural way of playing was not perfect, it was closer to what I needed to do to have it be easier and play well. And from there, I tweaked a little bit, and today just finished my practice session, and as I said about a minute ago, it was the first time I've been able to play the triple register since like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And what I eventually found, there was one very specific thing I did today that got me above a double G, and that was activating my upper lip muscles a little more. Tensing my upper lip muscles when I want to go above a double G, and I'm still trying to work it out. Maybe I'm doing some other stuff, I don't know it, but I'm still trying to find out exactly what's happening there. But I'm much closer than I was a week ago when I was trying to bring the upper lip down, curl it in, pull the bottom lip up and curl it out, and then bring in the corners and put the pressure on, and then when I'm putting that, make sure that I'm pulling it this much, stuff like that. It wasn't working. I was thinking too much. This is a much closer to where I was than what I was doing a week ago. So maybe the takeaway, as I just said, I can't remember what I talked about a minute and a half ago sometimes. But the takeaway, if you're in a spot right now where you're like totally lost, you're thinking of all these different things, maybe try to take a step back, go back to some things that were maybe easy for you a month ago, but try playing them now and get them to the point where they are easy again, and then go from there. Doing anything is always, was it 2 steps forwards, 1 step backward? There's always going to be peaks and valleys in whatever you're doing and getting better at. And even if you didn't learn anything from this video, maybe you at least, if you're going through a rough spot and whatever it is, maybe, you're not alone. Other people, everyone goes through rough spurts in whatever they're doing. I don't want to say it's just trumpet playing or just music in general. It could be anything, whether it's a art or a video game or cooking or whatever. I make a lot of food, and sometimes it doesn't turn out as good as I really wanted it to. But anyways, that's what I want to talk about. There will be a video coming up soon that is me playing. I have to figure out what I want to play. I don't know. I got a ton of music here. I just got to pick one. But I'm pretty indecisive. But there'll be something coming up. Thanks for, we're like 134 subscribers now. It's fantastic. It blows my mind. I really appreciate everyone that's watching and subscribing and commenting. Thanks for watching this. Hope you learned something. If you have a question, please put it in the comments, and I'll try to respond to it. I went through a lack about the past month. I've been just not like deliberately not responding to comments, but I just forgot. It hasn't crossed my mind to look at comments. I have a different YouTube channel that I use to just watch videos normally, so I have to physically switch to this one and reply to comments. But I'll be better about it, I promise. So if you have a question, please put it in the comments and I'll try to respond to it. Hopefully you'll learn something. Hopefully this was at least useful, and if not, maybe next time you go through a rough period and whatever you're doing, you can look back on this video and be like, you know what, I'll come out of it. It'll be all right. It'll always be okay as long as you keep going. One thing that I've always told myself is that if my drive to get better is stronger than my doubt in myself, then it'll be all right and I'll come out of it. As long as I just keep going, you know, I'll get there. I've definitely had moments. I've had a lot of moments in my trumpet career where I'm like, is this really meant for me? Can I really do this? Am I going to be as good as the people I want to be as good at? Am I going to be able to play these charts and these stuff? Even like 3-4 days ago, I had the exact same thing. Am I able to do this? I've come so far, but maybe this is it. Maybe this is as far as I can go. But it helps to think about where I came. You know, I can guarantee you myself a year ago would love to be playing as well as I played 3 days ago. Even if 3 days ago in present day was not good for me, how I played 3 days ago was much better than I was playing at my best a year ago. So it's good to think about those things. That's part of the reason I started this YouTube channel. I talked about it in my last video, so I can look back on a video I uploaded a year ago, 2 years ago, and be like, wow, you know, when I recorded that, that was hard, and now maybe it's not as hard, and I've come a long way. So always important to recognize that if you just keep going, you'll get there. Try to find people to guide you along the way. But yeah, it's hard to do everything alone. Definitely try to talk to people who are better than you and get advice. I'm very grateful that Louis has helped me out a ton and that he answers my questions when I text him, and it's been phenomenal for me. And you know, all my other people that I talk to about trumpet, they're much more knowledgeable than I am. My trumpet teacher in high school, Drew, taught me so much. I still think about what he taught me when I was in high school. I still think about it now. Like, or one of the biggest things he told me was, you always want to, obviously you want to be improving you at your best. You want to be improving your best all the time, obviously. But what's just as important, if not more important, is making sure your worst is much closer to your best than just having, like, you would rather have very consistent best and worst being very close to each other rather than you at your best is super good and you at your worst is really bad. You know, people would rather have a trumpet player that is just consistent. So that's something that is always stuck with me, and I try to think about that even now when, you know, I'm going through a hard time. I can be happy in the fact that my worst right now is closer to my best than maybe it was a year ago. But yeah, that's it. If you have a question, post in the comments. Have a fantastic day. See ya.